Hey, what's up everyone? Christy Keenan here for SuperLobby.com. We have got the weekly Fantasy Premier League preview video for you. We've got two special guests this week. My regular partner in crime, David Copeland, the CEO of SuperLobby.com. David, how are you?
Terrific, Christy.
And we also have very special guest all the way from France via London, Nicolas Boutar, who is a Mondogoal enthusiast. Nick, how are you?
I'm very good. Very glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and thanks for sparing your time to come on the show. Nick plays as Bigo1 on Mondogoal in particular. And Nick, why don't you just walk us through a little bit about your DFS backstory?
The background. Well, I guess like everyone here, I started with a season-long fantasy. I think it was 10 years ago. Started like randomly in the tube in London with Metro, this newspaper. They were promoting their season long, and I thought, wow, could be a nice game to try. And for like from 2005 to 2012, 13, I just got crazy and then turned to, I don't know, 3-4 different games with maybe 20 teams to manage, etc. It was just for fun. I mean, it was not high stakes or anything. It was just for fun. And then I discovered DFS probably 2 years ago with a competitor of Mondogoal. It was called Play On. It's still there, I think. Even invested personally in the platform, like as an early shareholder.
Wow.
And yeah, I played there for like a year and a half, but it was small stakes because the game is really for more casual players. And I really discovered Mondogoal exactly a year ago, and I started to play there quite a lot, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, that's the story. So basically, I've been in DFS for 2 years probably, but really seriously only in the last 10 months.
Fantastic. So, you're going to be making a run at the leaderboard this
Okay.
week. And the leaderboard that a certain Mr. Copeland currently sits atop.
Well, it's been a great week to bury bad news, hasn't it, for Chris Mazzone and Hesh, because NFL started and DFS world just went absolutely crazy. So somehow the embarrassment of me leaving the leaderboard has not fully hit home. But I've had a sneak preview of this team that's going to get talked about today, and I am certain I will not be leading the leaderboard.
Yeah, you're not too confident.
Saturday night, I have no confidence of retaining my spot. I think the sheriff is in town.
Nick, high praise indeed there coming from David. I've been working with David for 2 years now. I haven't ever got praise like that.
It's high pressure now. High pressure.
Yeah, it could be the mind games. This could be Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger style.
We'll see. I've got a couple of bombs I might throw in later on. But
yeah.
All right, we'll see. Let's take a look at the lineup, shall we? So, the first thing that stands out, Nick, in your Mondogoal lineup here is that you've gone very big on few fixtures, if you see what I mean. We've got 3 Bournemouth picks.
Yep.
We've got 3 Man City picks. We've got 2 Liverpool picks, 2 Villa picks. Quite often you'll see the selections, there's what, 8 fixtures going on this weekend, 9 fixtures going, that are out, 9 that are eligible this weekend, but you've stuck to only 4 fixtures.
4 teams, yeah.
What's the thought process behind that?
Well, it's all about the correlation. I tend to stack at least 2 guys from the same team in defense.
Yeah.
Here it's the Cherries. Then normally have like an attacking defender, which we would say is Kolarov. And then for the strikers or midfield is the same. It's like trying to get the combination assist plus goal, which gives you effectively like 13 points as soon as you reach it. So I guess, I mean, it's both a combination of trying to get as high a correlation as possible, because we're talking about GPPs and you basically try to get like a high variance team And for this week as well, it's really like those 4 teams I thought had by far the best fixtures, because in this slate you don't have Chelsea nor Arsenal, because they are the early kickoff, and normally I will tend to have some guys from these teams as well, which is not possible this time. So it's a combination of trying both to get like a high variance team and at the same time to not be able to choose like from a pool of players that normally I like to pick up from.
That's certainly an interesting strategy, and one that makes a lot of sense. Basically saying go big or go home. Yeah,
for GPPs that's kind of the way.
David, do you adopt a similar strategy?
No, I'm far more just a guesser. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you always, I always try and pick out some teams that I think have got they've got a chance in the game that are maybe sort of undervalued and everything else. So it's pretty much what we're hearing here from the champ.
And I noticed, David, just as an aside, that your man Olivier Giroud got sent off last night.
Do you know what? I worked so hard this week that I actually fell asleep in the middle of watching the Roma-Barcelona game. So I've got no idea of any of the other scores in the Champions League last night. So yeah, well, Giroud, he's a great player. We can talk. We have a Frenchman with us today. He can tell us more. What do you think about Giroud?
I think, it's better than some people say, but he would be a perfect backup for Arsenal, because he's a good guy to have in the team. I mean, I watched the last 20 minutes yesterday, and they were basically bombing forward like long balls, but the guys up front were like Walcott, Alexi, and Joel, like they're all 170, so it was pointless. Having a target man for this team, I think it's clearly a big advantage. Now, is it the best target man that Arsenal can get? Probably not, but I don't mind Giroud too much, to be honest.
He's someone that always sort of flatters to deceive for me. He's the full package, physically very good, far better touch than he gets credit for, but doesn't strike me as someone who can dictate a big game. He's rarely the difference in the big fixtures when you need your strikers turn it on. Also, definite red card last night. I don't understand what the media are complaining about. 2 clear bookings. Don't understand it.
It's known as a Whittaker.
A Whittaker, 2 quick bookings.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, returning to your team, Nick. So we got Tommy Elphick, Simon Francis from Bournemouth. Bournemouth are at home to Sunderland. You've also got Callum Wilson up front. Going big on the home victory there. Yeah,
I watched Sunderland last Sunday. They were much better than I expected, but I still expect the Bournemouth to do quite well. They haven't kept a clean sheet this year yet, but I mean, what better team than Sunderland to get you started? So yeah, I went 2 defenders from those guys. Francis is basically the attacking defender from Bournemouth. I think he has the highest chance created in the Premier League so far in the 5 games. So it's quite expensive, but he gives you big chances of assists, potential goals as well. So it was really a lock-in. Elphick is basically I wanted to have company, who I think is the same price, but I'm not too sure about his injury. He went off injured. Yeah, that's a problem. So, but if it's clear from tomorrow, like press conference, that company is fit, maybe company might be a better player. But I don't mind Elphick. I think again that they're quite likely to keep a clean sheet, or at least to have maximum 1 goal allowed. So I don't mind too much. It is basically it was the last spot to have. So I had 6.8 or 7 million, and it fitted quite well with the whole team structure, I guess.
Yeah, that seems fair. And you've also got 3 Man City players who are at home to West Ham. West Ham completely Jekyll and Hyde this season. They've been 50% tremendous, 50% horrendous. Fancy Man City in that one?
Yeah, it's not such an easy game, but the guys I had is the same with Francis. Kolarov is super attacking. I mean, even if it doesn't get a clean sheet, you still hope for an assist or a goal from this guy. So it's always good to have attacking defender. For the two midfields, I got like quite a high floor guys because the way Man City plays, they keep possession, they pass the ball a lot. So Yaya and Silva tends to get quite a high floor just from passes and potential shot on targets.
And Nick, explain to us and our viewers what you mean by high floor and high ceiling.
Yeah, so basically the floor is like the minimum point you can expect from a player, even if he doesn't score or he doesn't assist. And basically, the way you get those points in Mondogoal is passes. You get 0.05 from each pass, completed pass. And basically, you look at his stat. He gets between 70 to 100 completed passes every game. So you have a floor of like 4 to 5 points just from passes, just by doing nothing. Silva is slightly less, but it's kind of in the same range. So that's why when you get those two guys, basically it's very unlikely, except if they get injured, but it's unlikely you get 3 points or 4 points like you can get with a striker. So if like Harry Kane doesn't do anything, he doesn't score, doesn't shoot on targets, you're probably gonna get 2-3 points from this guy, and that totally kills your team. Whilst if you have midfielder don't necessarily like score easily, so at least if you have a high floor midfield, like Coutinho is the same as well. Those three guys are very high floor guys, and you expect at least like 25-30 points from these guys just by doing again nothing, even if they don't score or assist. So it's always good to have, and then you rely on your strikers to score the goals to bump up your total. So that's kind of a strategy that I use in Mondogoal. I think in DraftKings will be the same, except you will focus on crosses because they have 1 point for cross. So instead of passes, you will focus on guys who cross the ball a lot. And if this crosses 5-10 times, you get those points in the bag with, again, even if they don't do much. So it's always good for midfield. I focus a lot on midfield with a high flog. And then the variance comes really from the strikers, and I tend to have 3 of them. So that for GPP, I get the variance from those guys rather than the midfielder, basically.
Do you always tend to then go for a 3-4-3 formation?
Most of the times, yeah. For GPP, at least. For cash, I could go 3-5-2. Again, the midfield have a higher floor than the strikers. So
yeah.
For cash, I'm not too. It depends really. For GPP, I would say 95% of my teams are 3-4-3. Yeah, I could go 4-3-3 as well if I have attacking defender like Kolarov, Francis, and so for this slate, I think I will have 80% 3-4-3 and 20% 4-3-3
right.
for my GPP teams.
That's really interesting stuff. And actually, David, maybe you could speak to this, but if you guys are thinking, okay, so how do I do my research? Nick is quoting all these statistics about passing. SuperLobby are actually in the process of arranging a little hookup with Football Forum Labs. Is that right, David?
That's right, yeah. So we went and spoke to the guys at Football Forum Labs, which is a business I've known for quite a while. They provide access to a tremendous database of essentially every meaningful stat that you would be interested in, and plus injury news, etc., when building DFS soccer lineups. So it's a bit under the radar because it's been sort of traditionally used by sort of professional soccer bettors, but I think it's perfect actually to be used by our community. So yeah, so we went and spoke to them and asked if we could get a special deal for our users. So we're just sort of dotting the I's and crossing the T's for that. So there'll be a really good offer coming online, and we'll have it up in the soccer section. I don't think for this weekend, but we'll probably have it for next weekend.
Fantastic. And so, when, as Nick says, when you're doing your research on successful passes and crosses, etc., if you utilise Football Form Labs, then you're going to be getting an edge on the competition. Getting an edge on the competition means finishing higher up the leaderboards. Finishing higher up the leaderboards means more money, means it pays for itself, etc., etc. So you might want to stay in the loop for that one. So back to your picks, Nick. You've gone for Scott Sinclair from Villa.
Yep.
I've noticed that first thing that stands out, incredibly cheap.
Yes.
Second thing that stands out for me is he's a striker who's classed as a midfielder.
Yes, exactly. I think last time he plays in a 4-4-2 formation, so really as a striker next to, and he's on penalties as well. He scored one like 2 weeks ago. So he has the combination of playing out of position, being on penalties, and being at home against West Brom in a derby, which probably could bring a penalty, to be honest. So yeah, I mean it's a pick that is quite. I mean, it could really. I said my midfield I like to have high floor. Is typically a guy who has zero floor. But it's so cheap as well, so it's different. Yeah. It's a different category, I would say.
I was just wondering, did you not consider picking Alex Pritchard?
He's quite expensive, isn't he?
Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was a bit random. You have this guy and a guy called Gradle from the Cherries from Bournemouth.
Who's injured. He's out for the whole season.
Yeah,
it's injured season. Yeah,
Pritchard. I think it's almost like a test because they've stuck him in. He's the most expensive player on the whole slate. 15.7 million, right? His points per game average is minus 0.25.
And he's never.
I bet he gets picked.
He's not started this season, has he? He's not played a game this season.
Well, he's played one game. Yeah, he's played a few minutes. I think probably off the bench. He's played 5 minutes off the bench.
You're right.
But I bet you people pick him. Because it's like, you don't know who to pick. This guy must be great, right? Like, I'd love to speak to Chris afterwards and find out what the ownership was in Pritchard.
We should ask. I love that. If you can see on screen here, we've got Alex Pritchard, closely followed by David Silva. I mean,
not even that closely. It's like 2.2 million.
You got an FPPG of minus 0.25 or plus 46.6. Brilliant. All right, Nick. So Leslie, if you wouldn't mind talking us through your front three. I notice you've gone for the misfiring Harry Kane. Yeah. He's been disappointing this season.
He has. But his price. The good thing is his price has come down because Mondogoal is reacting quite quickly at the performance, like the past performance.
Yeah.
If you remember last year, it was around like 14, 15 million.
Yeah.
Now it's 9 million. It's kind of a punt, but for this kind of price, I'm happy to take. He's still the main guy. Again, he's on penalties for the Spurs. Is still the main guy. He's quite likely to play 90 minutes, hopefully. And it's a London derby, so hopefully he will be motivated for this one. I think, I mean, in general, he's been fairly unlucky. Against Sunderland, he should have scored like at least 1 or 2 goals. And this is typical of like a striker with low confidence. But as soon as, hopefully tonight he's playing in Europa League, might hopefully be rested, and if it's not rested, hopefully score, which will. I'm quite confident on Kane. He's still a good striker despite all the negative in the UK press. As I don't mind having Kane at home for 9 million for sure.
No, I would agree with that. I thought that was a great price, value-wise. But I thought Benteke was like...
Look at that price.
Even better price.
Look at that price.
7.9 million. I mean, you can get 2 Bentekes for a Pritchard, virtually.
The only thing with Benteke is he's not that high a point scorer.
Yeah, it's relying really on goals because it's fouling a lot, which is negative for his total. He doesn't pass at all. He doesn't do much except scoring, so you hope for something, but it should play 90 minutes. I think Sturridge is still not there, so against Norwich it's at that price as well. It's I guess it's not a bad place to be. And he's scored 2 goals. Yeah, he scored 2 goals in 5 games. First game he didn't even play much, so I mean, it's not as bad as people say, I guess. So.
Yeah, you know what? I like him. I
and
like him.
He's rested tonight as well. He stayed in Liverpool for the Europa League, so he won't be injured or anything. So it's not a bad pick. I think it will be probably the highest owned striker.
Absolutely,
yeah,
at that price. And Callum Wilson, 8.8. The guy has been, if anything, you could say that Callum Wilson has been this season's Harry Kane to date.
Yeah,
just nobody really particularly saw it coming. You know, he was a kid with high promise, but he has been on fire so far this season.
It's been really good. I mean, last week he didn't score, but he hit the post twice or 3 times, so he was very unlucky. Against Sunderland, I guess it's probably gonna be the second or third highest owned. So I guess my strikers are not really like, I don't have huge differentials from the striker. That's the only bad thing in this team is for a GPP. Basically, I went with the 3 obvious strikers. The fourth one will be Aguero if he's past fit, but as of today, I'm not too sure, so I didn't risk it. But those 4 strikers, I mean, the 3 here and Aguero, if fit, they will be in all the teams of like. So if you want to win like this GPP, maybe try to get 1 or 2 other strikers, because I mean they will be highly owned. So even if they do well, your team is not necessarily gonna do amazing anyway. So, but let's see. I mean, it's half a cash team, half a GPP team. What I have here, I would say.
Yeah, is it mostly though a team just to beat me?
Yeah, at least for a week. Probably gonna be beaten next week, but
you want that trophy, you know, it's pretty lucrative. What we really need to do is come up with a forfeit for the loser.
Well, that's not me right now. So
no,
it can be whatever you want it to be in that case. So if this was though like a GPP lineup, I know you said it sort of isn't, but if it was, you're really looking for the sort of Sinclair to score a penalty, your Bournemouth to keep a clean sheet, and Callum Wilson to score a goal is kind of what's going to what would differentiate this team.
Yes, probably, yeah. Sinclair is definitely the differential, I think. Even if he's cheap, people might forget about him. So, yeah. And I guess Kolarov is so expensive this week.
Hugely expensive.
Yeah, it probably will be a differential, because people will look at the price and say, wow, like 11 million for a defender. I think it's the first time I see that, to be honest, at least in the Premier League.
Yeah, only Leighton Baines, I think, has been up there.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, after he scored a couple of penalties. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Really, really interesting chatting with you, Nick. It's a team that both David and myself like a lot. It's going to be interesting to see if you can knock the boss off his perch at the top of the table. I'll be very interested to see it indeed. Gentlemen, we should wrap up the video there. It's been an absolute delight. Nick, any final parting words for us?
No, not much. I mean, I've been super excited with your website. Hopefully, as like DraftKings is gonna come here in the UK. So as a UK resident, I'm definitely gonna use your site far more. I mean, I've been following you guys for a while. I mean, even after the FSTA, etc. So super excited for you. Well done, really well done.
Oh, thanks very much.
Very kind words. Unexpected. Delighted. We'll take it.
Yeah, I did give Nick the perfect assist there. I was fishing for it. Okay. So in SuperLobby land, David, very quick plug before we go. SuperLobby Premium.
SuperLobby Premium, was live in a sort of a soft launch last weekend, full on this weekend. There was $4 million of overlay in the US that we tracked last week, in the last 7 days. And SuperLobby Premium allows you to receive an alert when overlay occurs in real time. Get ahead of the curve with SuperLobby Premium.
Beautiful. Okay, everyone. Best of luck in the games this weekend. Nick, hope that you knock David off the top of the table. No offense, David. And we'll catch up with everyone very soon. Check us out on Twitter @SuperLobby. This is Christy Keenan for SuperLobby.com. Bye, everyone.